Okay, we are live. And we are going live on Instagram. Okay, we're fully live.
Amazing.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone to our August Q&A. How this goes is we reached out to all the parents enrolled in our programs and we asked them what questions do they have for Spencer and I. And then they pre-submit those questions and we answer those questions first and then move on to public questions. So if you are not enrolled, please ask away on whichever platform you are on and we will get to your question. Before then, we do have an exciting announcement that our parents who are part of our newsletter already know, but we have finally partnered with a company called Crawlaroo to have a Doman method baby crawling track available. This is super, super exciting because it is, I think, one of the best devices you can have for your baby. And for the longest time, we've had instructions on how to build one. Spencer and I, we both learned how to crawl on these crawling tracks that our parents built. But now you can actually buy one in a box. It comes, you put it together. It's super easy. And we have a video of me unboxing it, which we'll play for you guys so you can kind of see what it looks like. And then I will also kind of speed run some questions for Spencer so you guys can get a gist of what the crawling track is, what does it do, and how to use it. Okay. And Spencer, anything you want to say before we get into it?
I think it's just really exciting. It's been years since we've had an official crawling track. Back when Noah and I were kids, the crawling track was actually produced by Asics, like the shoe company. But unfortunately, they discontinued it years ago. So I'm just really excited to have another company with it's just fantastic quality.
Yeah. And I also want to say that, Crawlaroo it's a mother who she built a crawling track for her kid and had great results with it and then wondered, why isn't there a crawling track, that's available? So really, really happy that we've been able to partner. I will bring up the video now. I believe it is visible. And I want to say beforehand, I didn't think this video would ever go on social media. I made it for my family because they were working out of the country and I wanted to unbox it and show them what it looked like. This was before our partnership. But then I thought to myself, what's more authentic than putting together a crawling track in your sweatpants, which I feel like most parents will be doing anyway. So I'll play the video. And, I have to say, it's so simple and nice how easy it is to put together this crawling track. Right now I'm pulling out the screws that go into the crawling track and, they're made with wood so that they're safe. I'm putting it together, as you can see. Obviously it wasn't that fast, but it took me around 5 minutes to put together the entire crawling track. Super, super quick to put together and to take apart, right? So if you are on the move and you want to bring it somewhere, right? Easy to take apart. Also, it's small. You can easily store it too.
Lightweight, easy to carry, even for a postpartum mom who just gave birth. So not that heavy. And the material is just really good quality. It's very smooth. Very comfortable, right?
Super comfy. I mean, I wish it was big enough so I could lay in it. The padding is so nice. This is really the first time I'm ever seeing the crawling track. So I was super, super impressed by it. And I guess while we play this out, Spencer, I'll speed run some questions for you.
Sure.
So what is the Doman method infant crawling track?
Yeah, so the infant crawling track is a safe and effective environment to put babies into that allows them to crawl in the easiest way possible. Crawling is an essential milestone for brain development and mobility development. You want a child to crawl in the first days and weeks of life. And so the crawling track creates a smooth, clean surface that you can put a child down onto. It's very important that it's smooth, so that it's easy for the child to move, right? You don't want like a carpeted surface, for example, which has a lot of friction. But of course, you want it to be firm as well. If it's too soft, like a mattress, you sink into something, so you need it to be firm, but you also need it to be comfortable and smooth. And it's easy to clean. So it's sanitary and hygienic for your child. And it's something you can move all around the house with you. So it's a great way to give your child tummy time in a safe and effective way. The other thing is you can see that there are walls on it that allows the child to push off of the walls, that helps them learn how to crawl faster.
Okay, next question. So you probably get this a lot, which is, my baby is not crawling on the track. What should I do? And I guess just so parents know, for what ages do you recommend the crawling track?
I mean, I would recommend it for birth until a child is creeping on their hands and knees. So, for example, I spoke to a mom yesterday with an 8.5-month-old who's commando crawling on the belly. So even for that 8.5-month-old, not creeping yet, so that child can still use the crawling track.
And then going back to the original question, if a baby is not crawling on it, what do you recommend doing?
You incline the track. So all you have to do is you take the one side of the track and you lift it up a bit, right? You could put something strong and sturdy underneath it so that it's safe but still inclined, and that allows gravity to help the child. So when they push with their hands or their feet, they move down more easily. And then once a child is crawling down consistently on an incline, then you lower it down onto the floor, fully in the flat position, and the child just crawls on the flat.
And then last question, Spencer, how often should a parent be putting their baby on the crawling track?
So, we talk about this extensively in the Doman Baby program, which is our online course and materials that are available at domanlearning.com. By the way, Noah, can I mention the coupon code?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. There's a coupon code Spencer10 for any course or item on the Doman Learning website. So you could use that for the Doman Baby program. But the Doman Baby program teaches you how to use the crawling track. In short, we try to build up a baby to about crawling on it about 6 times daily. That tends to be a good goal to shoot for 6 times a day, but maybe you start with 1 or 2 times a day and build them up. Everything should always be done in a gradient. So we go over the exact frequency, duration, all of that in the course, but start small and build up to maybe 6 times a day.
Well, I am going to drop our link for Crawlaroo's baby crawling track in the comments. It's crawlaroo.com/Doman. This is a partnership. We are super, super excited to have this available and to get tons and tons of babies crawling with it. With that said, if there's anything else, Spencer, I'll move on to pre-submitted questions.
Yeah, let's do that.
Great. And I just want to say, we also have one more surprise that will be coming up after we've gone through all the pre-submitted questions. You're acting surprised, Spencer, but
I just remembered what it was. At first I was like, wait, there is. And then I was like, oh yeah.
So, stay tuned for that. Okay. So this is from Dominica. She has a 14-month-old. Her questions are, just to clarify, the rule of thumb is 180 total Doman cards. So 10 pictures across 18 categories. Is this the right milestone to start introducing encyclopedic facts?
Okay, so generally, and we go over this extensively in the Gift of Knowledge course. I know that in the Doman books, it says to do 10 cards in a set. I know that. But what we found over the last few years is that we have more interest and enthusiasm and improved retention with children when we do sets of 5 cards. So I would recommend doing a category of 5 cards rather than 10. As for the 180, I believe that's the total amount of materials that we have in the Doman Learning.
We have
in the Gift of
36.
Knowledge. We have
We have
36.
36
36
different categories.
36
Yeah.
different categories, yeah, of 5 cards. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Do categories of 5 cards, and I definitely recommend Dominica checking out the Gift of Knowledge course.
Yeah, because Spencer in that it explains exactly, how many sets you should be doing a day and how the program should advance and how to teach the facts and everything. Moving on to Dominica's second question. So we've been doing sentences in 2 languages for 6 months. Is 14 months too young to transition from sentences to Doman books? Or when is the right time to make that shift? And by the way, Dominica has our Doman
Reading
method.
before school.
Yeah.
She's done the reading before school program. She's gotten that.
I believe she just has the reading materials.
Got it. Okay. So to quickly answer this question, the right time is now. I mean, there's 14 months is a perfect age to start Doman books. You can even start them earlier. Usually our simple answer is do sentences for a month and then start Doman books. But you can always start Doman books earlier. In fact, I often recommend it because children tend to love it. So go ahead and get started.
So third question from Dominica. We've been doing dot cards and equations for 10 months, starting when she was 4 months old. When should we introduce numerical symbols? And is it true we should stick with intuitive dot math as long as possible, even up to age 3?
Okay, does Dominica say she's shown quantities up to 100?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay, we discussed this in the Math Before School course. Usually with a child of 14 months, we do all the quantity cards up to 100. We do equations, so we teach addition, subtraction, multiplication, division with the quantity cards, and then we move on to the numerical symbols. And for everyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, right, we start with children under 2.5, we start with quantity cards, right, with red dots, and then eventually, this is to teach innate number sets, and then we move on to teaching the numerical symbols. So so that's what I'd recommend. I'd recommend following that path with your child, doing the equations before you move on to the numerical symbols.
And then Dominica's last question. Can Doman cards include background elements, like showing a firefighter next to a fire engine?
No, okay. The basic answer is no. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
No, you should. I mean, first of all, you should have a fireman card in an occupation set, and fire truck in a vehicle set. But yeah, all Doman cards should just be one thing, and you don't want background things because it distracts children, and for some children it's actually confusing, right? If you say fire truck and there's a firefighter in that photo, maybe the child thinks the firefighter is the fire truck, so yeah.
Now, would you say there are exceptions to this rule? Like, for instance, if we are doing portraits of famous people and there's, it's like a president and they have like a background.
There are a few exceptions. Works of art, for example, might have different things in them, or like portraits or photographs of famous people. But those are the only exceptions I can really think of.
If you're teaching a generic fact, it should be that specific subject.
Yeah, and what I would say is that, especially with works of art, that is the fact, right? You if you're showing the Mona Lisa, cutting out the background behind her would be ridiculous, right? So, So I think, parents get the point.
Okay, moving on to Grecia. Okay, this is from Grecia. She is expecting a baby girl and has been preparing by reading the Doman books and completing the premium bundle courses. Her question is, should I start reading math and Doman cards right away during the first month, or is it better to wait until around 6 months? How should I introduce and combine these 3 programs throughout her first year? And what does an ideal progression look like for a newborn? And for the record, I've already contacted Grecia about the newborn program that we have.
Got it. The Doman baby program,
yeah.
Right? So generally what you're going to do with the newborn, you're going to start with the Doman baby program. Okay. And in that and so those are the first videos that you should be watching and implementing with your child, because the visual, auditory, tactile stimulation is going to help prepare your child to improve their vision, hearing, and feeling, so that they'll be ready to start taking in the information from the Doman cards, from the reading program, from the math program. So generally, the Doman baby program would last about 6 months, and then you would start the other parts of the program. Okay, now we do the reading or the Doman cards program. Now, I do want to say sometimes parents will contact us after, let's say, 3 months of implementing the Doman baby program, and they'll say, hey, our baby is so with it. Like, he is doing all the milestones you talk about. Like, he's responding to smiles with a smile. He's turning around to sounds and locating them, right? So he can see, he can hear really well, feel very well. Because we explained in the course what are the end goals. If your child hits those 6 to 7 month old milestones early that we describe in the course, they can start the Doman cards and the reading and the math earlier. But implement that program first and try to achieve the goals of that program first.
Yeah. And just to say, in terms of progressing through the different programs, right? You got Doman cards, right? You have math, you have reading. General rule of thumb, Spencer, correct, is to start with whichever one is the most exciting, right? Which you are the most enthusiastic about, and then around a month later to add a new topic, right? If reading's the thing you're most excited about, start with that, and then a month later add math, then a month later add Doman cards. Yeah, just wanted to say, because that was part of the question as well.
You don't have to add it a month later if you're finding it's tough doing that first thing. You can keep doing that until you feel ready to add the second thing. But I'd say put a minimum of 1 month. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to Beatrice. Does the Doman reading program work if a grandmother presents words in a specific language only once a week, or is that exposure too low to be effective? If it can work, how should we structure the schedule to reach 15 total repetitions per word? And is it okay to do all 15 showings in a single day?
Great question. So I do want to differentiate two different things. First is kind of effectiveness of learning. And then the second thing is it worth it? Okay. So first of all, is it worth it for a grandma to pick up cards once a week if that's all she has with her child? The answer is absolutely. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do with your grandson or granddaughter. It's a great way of teaching them that learning is fun, that learning is something you value in your family. So even if your child didn't learn all of the information or some of it, I would still say to do it, okay? To answer your next question, yes, you can increase the frequency of showing the materials from 3 times in a day, because what we usually do is 3 times in a day, as she's saying, for 5 days. Now, you're asking me how to do it optimally. Okay, what's optimal is to try to do it more days in a week. So, for example, if you said, I can't do 5 days in a week, but I could do 3, we could say, all right, like, see if 3 times a day for 3 days works well. Like, just start with that, see how that goes. Could you increase more than 3 times a day? Some parents have done that, or grandparents have done that with success. But I do have to kind of put a little asterisk there and say some kids don't like that. So you have to kind of see how your child is doing. So for this grandma, I'd say do as many days a week as possible. If she says to me, no, I can only do 1 day a week or 2 days a week, I would say start with 3 sessions. And if that's going well, go up to 4. And if that's going well, okay, maybe you go up to 5. And you see what your child is, or grandchild is happy doing in that day. Hopefully that helps.
Okay. Moving on to Beatrice's second question. If parents choose to put their baby to sleep in the prone position, what specific safety precautions need to be in place at home to keep the baby safe? Are standard commercial cribs or co-sleeping beds suitable for this?
So actually, my biggest concern is co-sleeping, because, very often It can be very dangerous for babies and small children to be sleeping in beds with parents, because parents are big and roll over and can obstruct the child's breathing without meaning to do it. So co-sleeping, especially with a small baby, is very risky, and it's not recommended. So that's the most important thing. I mean, in terms of I think it's very important when you're putting a baby down to sleep to make sure that they're comfortable, and to make sure they're in a position which they find comfortable. To make sure that bedding isn't too loose is important. But besides that, I do have to say, actually, co-sleeping is one of the biggest dangers. Yeah. So just be very, very careful about that.
I just want to I see questions coming in from the public. I just want everyone to know we are currently going through pre-submitted questions first from our parents who are enrolled in our programs. And then at the end, we will be answering public questions. So just stay tuned and we'll get to your question. Okay, moving on to, this is from Allison. She has an 8-month-old, a 3-year-old, and older children participating in the Doman programs. Her questions are: my 8-month-old enjoyed the reading program at first, but now looks away or tries to crawl off in our quiet room. How can I regain her visual attention?
So sorry, no, I only heard the last part. So the child crawls off to another room, and
yeah. So the baby, the 8-month-old, used to love the program, but now is trying to crawl off to another part of the room.
Do they say what program they're doing?
The reading program.
Okay. So, I mean, my first question for this parent and recommendation would be, are you doing pictures and words together?
So Allison has been doing the reading program with her older kids. So yes, using pictures and words.
Okay. Yeah, I have my first recommendation for Allison would be to send us a video of a session, to be honest, because there might be something with a video that if we could watch it, we could catch. Because there might be something that Allison is doing, not to say it's Allison's fault, which works for the older kids, but isn't working well for the 8-month-old. It might also just be a factor of, is the environment quiet? Is it just the 8-month-old, or are the other siblings there kind of making noise and distracting? So Allison, if you could try to capture a video of a session, that'd be super helpful. Maybe send it to me.
I don't know if this plays a role, but her second question is about her 8-month-old's crawling. My 8-month-old pulls forward with both arms together rather than cross crawling. Should I do something to correct her pattern, or just wait?
So what she could start doing is, just kind of putting her hand behind her child's foot. So when she's crawling on her belly, you just put your hand or your hands behind your child's foot like this, and allow your child to start pushing off of your hands. Similar to how the crawling track has those walls, you kind of like use your hands as walls. That can sometimes be helpful. I think that we do have a technique that Doman Learning doesn't teach, but our nonprofit called Doman International teaches, called patterning, which for some children, to teach the brain how it feels to crawl in a correct cross pattern, we will use. So I would say to Allison, use your hands first, let your baby push off of your hands, see how that goes. But if this persists and your baby isn't using their legs to crawl, then reach out to Noah, and Noah can kind of connect you with Doman International, and maybe we can teach you a bit more about patterning.
Okay, moving on to Allison's next question about math. My 3-year-old mastered numbers 0 through 5 with poker chips, but is losing interest and getting confused while learning 6 to 10. How should I proceed if he loses motivation before finishing the 7-day cycle?
And how old is the child?
3.
Okay. So there are many kids who will grasp quantities 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 and not 7 through 10, 6 or 7 through 10. I would just move on. Yeah, I wouldn't, especially if you start to see, if a child was enjoying it, I'd say keep going for the rest of the week as we teach in the Math Before School program. But if the child's getting bored, I'd say, look, your child, even children that recognize 1 through 5 quantities, they do have innate number sense. So I would just say, okay, move on to the next step.
How long does a child actually need to look at a word or sentence to absorb it? Is a quick glance enough? I think she's concerned that her kids are just glancing at the single word or the sentence, and she's a bit concerned about whether they're absorbing the knowledge.
Generally, yes, a glance is perfectly fine. Now, the funny thing is, now we're getting into minutia here. People's definition of a glance greatly differs, and most of the time, when parents say my child is glancing, I look at it and I'm like, oh, that child is doing more than glancing. Like they're really giving it a look, but maybe it's for 2 seconds or something, rather than just a quick thing. But a glance is usually enough. And again, if Allison is concerned, send a video and I can take a look at it and tell you if I share it.
Mm-hmm. And then Allison has 2 more questions, but the next one is, my older kids get bored with Doman books after 4 days. Should I retire a book after 4 days if they lose interest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Allison's next question is about her own brother who's 13. He still does not know how to read. He can read maybe a page of a first grade reader painfully slow. He has no mental delays and is extremely smart, other than he can't read. Allison's mother thinks it might be dyslexia, but she's never done any Doman programs with him. What is your recommendation to get him reading as quickly as possible?
Oh, great question. We don't use the term dyslexia, but based on what she has said there, probably he will end up being diagnosed if he's going to a school or being diagnosed with dyslexia. That being said, there are a lot of programs that can help him that we use in the Doman method. Everything that we teach here at Doman Learning is information that we learn from children with neurodevelopmental delays, including dyslexia. So he would definitely benefit from a full reading program. But there are other activities that we have found to be very helpful. Just very quickly, at Doman International, we use a lot of cross-pattern activities, like, for example, crawling on the belly, creeping on the hands and knees. These are all activities that require the 2 hemispheres of the brain to work together, but also things like tapping the right leg with the left arm and, crossing the body. It stimulates the 2 hemispheres of the brain together. So we have various other programs that I think could help Allison's brother. I would recommend Allison and her mom, maybe, or the mom of her brother, to contact Doman International, because I think Doman International can really help him with his reading problem. I mean, like she said, he seems to really only have a reading difficulty, and that is really Doman International's biggest thing. So if she goes to Doman International's website and fills out a contact form, my colleague at Doman International, Colleen Hudson, will reach out to her and schedule a call with her and just kind of talk her through what are resources that Doman International offers.
And Allison can also reach out to me directly. And
Sure.
so in general, I know Doman Learning primarily talks about kids below the age of 6,
Right.
but these programs can be used with any age kid. I mean, Spencer and I have both learned other languages older than 6 years old with, the Doman reading program. We learned Japanese all the way up until we were 14 using the same methodology. So even though we primarily talk to parents with kids who are under 6, you can 100% use these programs with older kids too. I just wanted to say that. Okay. Moving on. And for everyone who's joining us, these are our pre-submitted questions from parents who are enrolled in our programs. If you have a question, drop it in the comments and we will get to them when we open it up to the public. Okay, so this is from Kos. He has a 3-year-old daughter who speaks 5 languages and has had 0 screen time. He wants to introduce Japanese, but while he can read and understand it, he struggles with speaking fluently. His question is it beneficial to let her watch Japanese cartoons, movies, or nature shows to practice listening, or will introducing screens risk reducing her strong love for books and non-moving media? I think he's really concerned, opening it up, that it might open up Pandora's box and she won't be interested in, reading books with him anymore.
Yeah. It's a good question. So I completely understand where Kos is coming from, but I'm not so concerned about that. I think that Japanese cartoons are a great way to allow her to hear native speakers in that language. Noah and our parents used to play Italian cartoons for us and Japanese cartoons for us when we were kids. This was back in the day, this was before the internet. So they had like VHS videos that we would watch. And it was very helpful because, of course, from a few videos, it's not that your child's going to become fluent in the language, of course, but it does really help with pronunciation, right? Mm-hmm. And Noah's probably had this same experience. Like when I have tried to speak even little bits of Japanese with Japanese speakers, they're like, whoa, like your pronunciation is excellent. Like you sound like you're Japanese. And it's because as a young child, we got to hear native speakers. And my parents spoke no Japanese. So yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I just say limit screen time. Like I wouldn't do videos for more than maybe 20 to 30 minutes a day. And as I always say to parents, the bigger the screen and the further away it is, the better. So TV is better than an iPad, which is better than a phone, and so on.
And also, I mean, we now live in a time where you can put on, you can find dubbing in almost anything. And so Kos also mentioned which is all, as a kid, I love them, right? Like National Geographic documentaries, stuff like that. And then putting those in Japanese.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because, especially now with so much objectionable content online for kids, I would be wary to just go on YouTube and pick a video and say like, oh, a Japanese cartoon, like, you don't know what's going to be in that video, so probably better to, like Noah's saying, pull up a video on a streaming service on your TV or something, or buy one and then change the language.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to Jordan. She is fairly new to the reading program and is preparing her first sets of word cards. Her question is, the large cards are difficult for her to hold. Is it okay to print 2 words on a single card and cut it half lengthwise?
So Jordan's not using the Doman learning materials. She's making
No. She is. But I think in terms of so I think the question, right? She's first off, Jordan, if you're having difficulties showing the materials, number one, I would say, is your paper thick enough? The thickness of the paper will really help with showing the cards, and also practice. There used to be a live course when it came to all of these things a long time ago. And I remember as a kid participating in the course, and there was, 50 parents in the room, and part of the course was practicing showing the cards. And it's not easy. You don't just, I know Spencer's going to do it right now, but it takes a lot of practice, showing cards, right?
Well, no, I think you might be hitting the nail on the head with the thickness of the paper, because if you're using cardstock, Jordan, usually, the cards are pretty easy to hold. They're pretty easy to move. And Noah's right. I mean, I've been doing this my whole life, so I probably take it for granted. It's just easy for me. But yeah, I'm just concerned. Like, okay, first of all, if you're using the correct size from the Doman learning materials, then my next thought is, okay, maybe you're using paper which is too flimsy. Because paper that's very flimsy, it starts to it's like it's floppy.
Yeah, and I will say in terms of cutting it or doing 2 words per page and then cutting the paper, you really have to make sure that the word is still large enough. You don't want to lose the largeness of the word. And then there's issues with the pictures as well. Is the picture going to be large enough, right? So these are some things. If you have any technical issues with printing, you can always reach out to me at hello@domanlearning.com. I'm always happy to help with stuff like that. Okay, moving on to our last question from our pre-submitted questions. This is from Bree. She is starting month 5 of the program with her son. Her questions are, her son loves reading Doman cards and Doman books, but has lost interest in math quantity cards again after a short break. She worries her own personal dislike for math might be affecting his enthusiasm. How can she re-engage him and make math exciting again?
Do we have an age for the child?
We don't have an age, unfortunately.
Okay. She just has quantity cards there, so we don't know how far she's gotten into the quantity cards, right?
Yeah.
All right, Jordan. Probably, and there's some follow-up questions that I have here for Jordan, but I mean, my first thought is probably just to move faster. So, for example, if you're doing quantity cards, maybe instead of adding 2 cards every day, you know, which is what we talk about in the course, you add 4 or 5 cards every day. You just move more quickly through the program. Instead of doing 3 weeks on addition, you just do 1 week. But the reason why I asked the child's age is, you know, the child's age might change things. Like if the child's over 2.5, I'd say don't do the quantity cards, do the B modules from the Math Before School course where we talk about using poker chips. So I think, Jordan, probably the best thing for you to do is to reach out to Noah and just give him a bit more information about exactly where you are in your child's age, and maybe we can help guide you.
Yeah, and also if you want to send a video for Spencer and I to review to see what a session looks like, please do so. That's for any parent who has a question, who's wondering, am I doing it right? Just send over a video and I'm more than happy to review it. And if I need extra help, to get Spencer to review it too. Now this is Bree's last question, which I thought is a nice question to end off with. Is there an available video where you interview your mother about her personal experience doing the Doman program with us? I don't think there is, Spencer.
That's shameful.
Yeah, I know.
We should ask.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, I'm ashamed we haven't done it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Bree, for the idea. I know
it's so obvious we didn't think of it.
Yeah. We definitely she's written stuff about it. But yeah, she I mean, besides working, teaching parents for how many years? 50 years at this point. She's also done the program with all 4 of us. So she definitely has
grandchildren too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has a lot of insight. So we'll definitely be thinking about that. Now, we've gone through our pre-submitted questions, but before then, I do want to make a announcement. We have been kind of talking about this over the past few months, and I'm really excited about it. I've been working on it for the past year, and that is we are going to be releasing this year 5 sets of Doman cards. And so we have prototypes already, and we've been working tirelessly to get these done. And Doman cards, right? It's all about teaching your child facts about the world, right? So for our first sets, we have fruit, and I just have to say, I'm going to talk more about these things in a bit, these Doman cards, but we have a set of fruit. We are also releasing a set on colors. We got the
I'm sorry. This is I'm gonna dork out here. Go back to the fruit.
Yeah.
That orange. Go to the orange.
Go through all
sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
You're good.
I messed up. That is an amazing look. That is beautiful. I mean, that is a work of art. I mean,
I want to say, right,
that's the perfect Doman card right there.
The reason
it's beautiful, it's attractive.
It's the reason why it's taken so long, right, for us to come out with these is we didn't want to just release materials, right? I could have found a picture of an orange online and put it on it and whatever, license the image. We worked with illustrators from all over the world to get these sets made because to me, right, it's about teaching the fact, but also how can we expand a child's curiosity through teaching them the fact, right? So on top of that, every card, right, comes with 3 facts. Here are the facts on oranges. And the idea is not only are these facts about an orange, right, but these are facts that they can take out into the real world to expand their understanding. For instance, colors, right? Like with the colors, here we have black, okay? What can you teach about the color black? Well, for every color, we have a fact about how black is used in nature, right? So bats and panthers, they use the color black to easily hide, right? And then we have a fact about how we use the color black to communicate, right? So we use the color black in formal events, right? We dress in black. That means an event is important. And then the last question is about, color theory. Like when the 3 primary colors are mixed, red, yellow, and blue, it becomes black, right? These are actually interesting facts that kids can use to expand their understanding of colors. And so we're releasing colors, we're releasing fruit. We are also releasing sets on giant animals, the skeletal system, and planets, sun, and moon. They're so beautiful. I'm so excited to release them. I truly believe they are the best teaching materials you can get for your child. I can't stop looking at them, and yeah, I'm really excited for their release.
Noah and Morgan and I, when we were designing them, we realized it wasn't a finished product until we were all proud of them. Until we went, we need that. And my test, by the way, my test of a good Doman card, besides children loving them, is if you leave them on a table. Well, if an adult is walking by, will they flip it over to look at the back? That's how you know a good Doman card. And the facts on the back are great conversation starters. I mean, Noah mentioned okay, the color black, it says, we wear that to formal events, right? So when you're at a wedding, right, and the groom is walking down the aisle in black, you say to the child, hey, remember we learned about how we wear black at formal, things like that. In a lot of the colors, it talks about the traffic lights or how that color is used in red is used to tell us to stop or as a warning, right? So when you're out with your child, you can point those colors out, right? So it's all very meaningful information that starts a conversation between you and your child.
Yeah. And I'm so proud of these because, for us, when we were little kids, our mom made all of these cards from, she'd go and cut them out of magazines and she would write in big Sharpie. And there was so much love put into them, right? Because all she wanted to do was to teach us information. It was an act of love. And so I really wanted to take that and put it into this process. And it's taken a long time, but I'm really, really excited. I'm really excited for parents to have these very soon. Jane has asked, when are they being released? This is so exciting. Soon, this year, month or two. Just look out for it, and don't worry, we'll let everyone know when they're released.
Do you have the prototypes of the giant animals yet, or you not?
I don't have. I know those are definitely
an amazing set. I love that.
I know the illustrator just finished up with planets, sun, and moon today, and they're beautiful. The big reason why I was like, no, we need an illustrator making all of these by hand is, as a kid, I remember seeing food in cartoons. I don't know if you had this, Spencer, but the food in the cartoons, I understood it wasn't real food, right? It was a drawing of food, but it looked so delicious. It looks so and that's the thing, I think these illustrations, they make the actual subject way more exciting than an actual strawberry, right? I just want to eat it,
Yeah. And one of the great things, sorry, no, you finish your thought and then I'll.
No. That was the.
Yeah,
that was the
I was just going to say that, like, children that look at these cards, we purposefully made certain sets of cards that are things that your child's going to be seeing pretty often, like fruit, like colors. And then there are other sets of things like giant animals that you would probably never see in your daily environment unless you go to a zoo, maybe. Sorry, what was I was going to say something about now, so a parent might think like, oh, okay, like a strawberry, why show that to a child if, eventually my child will learn fruit anyway. And what I would say is that when we teach children information about their environment, they become so much more connected to their environment, right? So parents will say this all the time to me, where they'll say like their child will meet another adult, and the adult will say to the parent, like, what are you doing with this kid, right? Because the child is just so connected, they're curious, they're interested in their environment. And so when little kids are taught the fruit, I mean, first of all, they'll go, every time they walk through a supermarket, instead of screaming, they're like, look, it's the avocado, look, because they're actually connected. They're not just being left to sit in a stroller, like they're actually interacting with their environment. So
and what I will say is, look, I sourced and did all the facts, and I learned a ton about fruit and colors as I did it. I was on the phone getting the prototypes made, and the person who was helping me through the printing process, she pulled it up and she went, oh, I learned a new fact about peaches today. Like these facts, like the illustrations are amazing, and the facts are amazing too. And the designers and illustrators and editors who I've worked with to get this done, we've truly made the best teaching materials. Okay, that's enough. That's enough about Doman cards. You'll learn more about them later. We will move on to public questions. This is, let's see, first question from Altena Moreno. Hey guys, if I have a 4.5-month-old and a 2.5-year-old, is there anything, or is there something they could do together?
Yes. But I do have to say every child is different. Every set of kids is different. What I usually recommend with a parent who's just starting with Doman things for the first time would be, I would start with the older child. Let's say you start the reading before school program. Start it with the older child. The younger child will observe the older child doing it and naturally want to be involved, because there's nothing cooler than an older sibling, right? They just want to do everything the older sibling is doing. So that's the first thing. Now, for this specific mom, based on those ages, I would probably say, look, start with the reading before school program for the older child and watch the Doman baby program for the baby. So if she wants to learn things for both children, that she can start with both kids for their specific developmental level, that's the way to do it. But otherwise, I would say start teaching the older child, and the baby will just start wanting to join in. Yeah.
This is another question from Atena. Does the sight reading method interfere with phonetic learning later?
No. Good question, but no. In fact, the two things help one another. And there's a lot of research that backs this up now, that children that are taught using both whole words or a sight word approach, like the Doman method, and who get phonetics even at school or at home, learn very effectively. In fact, much better than children who just get phonetics. So there's no contraindication. I get this. A lot of parents naturally have this concern, but we have seen so many children, when they go to school, they're so well ahead of their peers because they've learned with the whole word approach, and their reading doesn't take a step backwards once they start to learn phonetics at home or at school. Yeah.
Okay, this is from our Lilorle. Quick question. In what month can the program begin, or how can I tell if my baby has sufficient vision to start?
And do we have an age on the baby or no?
We don't. But I think they're just wondering when to start and how to know if a baby has developed the vision to start, learning to read.
So we know a child is ready to start learning how to read when they can basically see everything in their environment. So do they recognize mom and dad's face? Do they smile when you smile at them? Do they see all their toys in their environment and people in the environment? The answer is yes. It means their vision is ready for reading. If your child's not at that level yet, I'd recommend the Doman baby course if this is a child under 6 months, if this is a baby under 6 months of age, and to do all the sensory stimulation laid out in that course. If the answer is yes, oh, my child does all that stuff, I would say, okay, check out, the reading before school program or one of the other Doman learning programs.
And just for people to know, we are at our last 5 minutes. So if you have questions, get them in now. We are moving on to Bree. Bree had a pre-submitted question, Spencer.
Right.
And then she's asking now, I joined late, but my son is 18 months and we are on division. Let me just, this is to go back to her question about math.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I restate it for people who are joining?
Go ahead.
So her son loves reading Doman cards and Doman books, but has lost interest in the math and quantity cards again after a short break. She's worried that her own personal dislike for math might be affecting the enthusiasm. How can she re-engage him and make math exciting again?
I would, because where Bree is right now, she has gone through the quantity cards and done the 4 operations. And the next step after that in the math before school course is actually teaching the numerical symbols, right? So actually teaching her child, the different symbols from 1 to 10. Oh, sorry, actually it's from 1 to 100. So I would actually recommend moving on to this because it's possible your child's just ready for a change. And sometimes when parents start to pull out the numerical symbols, now the child's like, ooh, we're moving on to something else. Good. It's not a math in general thing. It's just they're ready for something different. And they've just been looking at the quantity cards for months and they're ready for something else. So that's what I would do. And Bree, just let us know, when you start to introduce the numerical symbols, how your child reacts. But most children between 18 months and 3 years tend to find that pretty interesting. Okay. So I would just say stop. Don't go back to division, Bree. Just go right to the numerical symbols.
Okay, we'll give it another minute, but I think that is a wrap in terms of our Q&A. Just to rehash, we have in the beginning, we talked about our announcement, which is we are partnering with Crawlaroo to have a infant crawling track, which we're really excited about. You can go to crawlaroo.com/Doman to get it. We've been for a very long time. I've wanted parents to be able to buy, because I think it's one of the best devices you can get for your baby to teach them to crawl. And now it's official. It's a company run by a mom who had amazing results with her kid and wanted to make sure all parents could have one. So check it out. And then
I want to say the crawling track was approved by the person with the toughest standards in the world, which is my dad, Douglas, who has had 50 years of experience. And Noah, his standards are really high. One of the reasons actually why we haven't partnered with another company to produce it is because our standards are so high that people are like, what? No, we're not going to do all that. And we're like, no, we want perfection. So this is great.
The creator of the crawling track gave his stamp of approval on the crawling track.
Right.
And I do have an unboxing video. Maybe we'll post it. I'm not sure yet. You should. I'm in my sweatpants. It was for my family originally, but it was our first unboxing of it. And then the second news that we have is that we finally have prototypes for our first 5 sets of Doman cards. Here we have fruit. I've been working all year with illustrators and designers to put these together. We are super excited to release them this year. We have sets on fruit. We have sets on colors. We also have sets on giant animals and planets, sun and moon, and the skeletal system. And what I love so much is I'm saying a set, but truthfully, there are 10 Doman cards that come with every set. And now, we teach 5 sets at a time. So truthfully, this set of 10 is actually 2 sets. We will be updating everyone on their release as we go through the months, but definitely this year they will be available. Awesome. Spencer, do you have anything?
No, I don't think so. Am I supposed to?
No, I guess one last thing. As always, we have Spencer's promotional coupon code, Spencer10, 10% off all of our programs and bundles. So if you're thinking about enrolling, and by the way, all the questions in the beginning we answered are from parents who are already enrolled. So if you enroll, you can pre-submit questions that we will answer live. And also, in general, if you are wanting to learn more, you can always contact me. I run the socials, I run the email. When you reach out to us, you're talking to me directly. I'm more than happy to hop on a call and talk to you about, what's the best way to start the program if the Doman Method program is right for you and your family. As always, we love doing these Q&As. It's 2:00, and we'll see you next month in September for all of your questions.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Noah. Bye-bye.
Bye.